Hey everyone, how are you? And welcome back to Alex Builds Stuff. So as I told you guys in the previous episode, I would have the tree prepared for today. So this is a full 360 of the tree. And this tree is built the exact same way as the giant spruce tree that I made in the older episode when I was still over at Butterfly Glades. And the only difference between this tree and the giant spruce tree is that this maple tree is shorter. And I did actually use maple leaves. I think a lot of people probably thought that I was going to make a cherry tree, or like a cherry blossom tree. No, I didn't want to go that route. First of all, I didn't like how the pink would be up against all of the darker blacks. I think it would have been like pink in like a really offensive kind of way. Like there's pink and then there's pink. The other thing was everybody does that, and as beautiful as they are, I am really sick of cherry blossom trees in Minecraft. I think people build them very beautifully, don't get me wrong, but I'm sick of seeing it. Like every time I turn around, whenever somebody wants to do an Asian build, they always do the pagodas and they always do the cherry blossoms. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm so tired of it. And I want to do something that people haven't really seen before, or something that you wouldn't see very often. I mean, I know in vanilla Minecraft we don't have maple leaves, but that's fine because this is a modded series, so, you know, we can do that. That affords me the option to do these like different kinds of things, or things that you typically don't see, and to move outside of a lot of the problems that we experience with vanilla, which is there's not enough blocks. I mean, I hate to be mean to Mojang, but there aren't enough blocks, and even with 1.13 sometimes I feel like there aren't enough blocks. That's why I had it in Blocks Plus, because I like to just have so many more options. And granted, you know, I make all kinds of custom structures and things out of blocks that you wouldn't expect to create those kinds of things that I want to see, but still, this right here, without the iron rods, I would not be able to create it. So, like, I would, but it wouldn't look the same. It wouldn't have the same effect. And you'll see in a minute, like, how far I go with this and how many different blocks, because that design that you see right there, that's not the final lamp at all. Like, it gets pretty detailed in a moment. So, yeah. And so it's a thing of it. It's like, I feel like we need to have more blocks. We need to have more building blocks. And I get why survival always gets, you know, special treatment, because survival is more popular than building. Some people don't like to build, and some people prefer to just play survival. I get it, I really do, but the survival or the creative community tends to get left out. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. But anyways, that's besides the point. I'm not going to spend this whole episode ranting about like little details and things in Minecraft that I'm sure Mojang are thinking about. They just haven't done it yet. Anyways, what I do actually want to talk to you guys about is the future of this Asian village. At this point, I'm calling it an Asian village. Even though it's based on Japanese architecture or Japanese homes, I'm still preferring to call it an Asian village because it's not as representative. It's not as representative of real life as I would like it to be. So I can't really call it a Japanese village because it's not that. So, yeah, but it's based on that. Just like when I call a medieval town, is the thing that I build as medieval is not even medieval looking. So, yeah, but that, what you see right there, is actually the final design of the lamps. Anyways, what I want to ask you guys is, I planned out all of these structures, and the really small andesite rectangles you see in the background, those are intended to be houses, but the larger ones that I built, I have no idea at this point in time what I want those structures to be. Do I want them to be houses? Do I want them to be shops? Do I want them to be storage units? I don't know. I really have no idea, and I'm going to do more research about what you would find in a typical Japanese mountain residence or like village, town, whatever you want to call it. I'm not even sure what the proper term would be. I'm sure in Japanese there probably is a proper term for it, because the Japanese language has all kinds of words that we don't have in English. Trust me, I know this. But still, I don't know, so I'll do more research, but I'd love to hear from you guys too, what you think would be really interesting to see. So let me know in the comment section what you guys want to see in what would be built in those buildings, if that made any sense. I didn't word that very well, but I think you understood what I meant. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is tomorrow. You can probably tell that I sound a little annoyed, and it's because tomorrow my department at my job is having a department meeting that I am not looking forward to. And the reason I'm not looking forward to it is because in every single meeting that we go to, our manager talks to us like we're children. And I'm really tired of being talked to like I'm a kid, especially given that, aside from the fact that I'm not a child, it's not appropriate in my workplace to be talking to us like we're kids. And this is coming from a manager who has no college education. Her highest level of education is high school. And now, granted, I unfortunately had to quit college. Like, I have a college degree, but it's an associate's degree. I spent 4.5 years at Southern Connecticut State, and I had to drop out. And it was for financial reasons, which is most of the reasons why people have to drop out of college, believe it or not. But still, I do find it very embarrassing, but it is what it is, and I understand that college is not for everybody. But her level of immaturity is so severe at times that she really doesn't know how to talk to people. And one of the important things about going to college, if anything, not just to get an education, but also is to learn how to deal with people. Because college puts you in a setting where you're thrust against people that you've never seen before, never met before, and you have no choice but to grow up. And she really needs to be in a setting like that. And I could say the same for anyone, not just her, but anybody needs to be in a setting like that, especially when you're young. And I don't have a problem with somebody younger than me being my boss. That's totally fine. I know people who are significantly younger than me who have sometimes more maturity than me and know things that I don't know. And that's fine. I have a friend who is in his 70s and he will ask my advice, and I'm like 40 years younger than him. So age doesn't necessarily matter in that sense, but what does matter is the way that she talks to us. And, she'll say to us, tell me what you think about XYZ, but our opinion doesn't really matter. Because she will go into our department and just change things and move things around or get rid of stuff that really just is totally rude. Because recently, very recently, I started downloading all of these diversity-related coloring pages for the kids to use, and I typically make coloring pages, but I got so tired of making them all the time because I'm always making them, so I decided, well, I will find some that are free to use, that are not going to have like copyright constraints or anything of the sort. We're not selling them or making money off of them, but I still want to be respectful to the artists. So, I found some that were okay to use, and a bunch of kids made several different ones. A lot of them were of, black kids and this girl wearing a hijab and just a beautiful, beautiful artwork that this woman had made, and the kids colored them in so beautifully. They were all hanging up. There weren't a lot of them, so it wasn't like clutter or anything of the sort, and she just took them all down and replaced them with a bunch of Halloween decorations. Now, I don't necessarily have a problem with Halloween decorations because Halloween's cool, and I have no problem with us celebrating holidays because there's like hundreds of holidays in this world, and as long as we celebrate a significant amount of them, I think it's fine. What I have a problem with, though, is several days prior to that, she had made a big stink about how the coloring pages I had picked didn't represent every single kind of kid around the world. Well, yeah, I know that. And I told her I've been looking for coloring pages that represent children from Asia and India, Native Americans, or the indigenous people of the Americas, etc., etc., etc. And these things are very hard to find. And it's something that I have to do more research about too, not just because, that's the respectful thing to do, but also because if I make something or draw something and it turns out to be culturally inappropriate, especially given that I am not Indian, Native American, or Asian, that is a huge level of disrespect. I'm not going to make something that I know very little about. I mean, it's one thing when I do research for something for Minecraft, it's another thing when I draw something that's supposed to look like a person in the real world. That's when you have to be very careful, especially with things like stereotypes. For example, all of the coloring pages that I had found up to that point of Asian children had been all kids with their eyes closed or eyes slanted. And no. And the argument that my boss raised was, well, they represent themselves that way. No, they don't, first of all. And anybody who does, that's not okay. Just because somebody does it doesn't mean it's okay. Just like when black folk use the N-word in social situations, just because they're doing it doesn't mean it's okay. And that's the thing that really gets on my nerves. It's like, who are you to be saying that? You know what I mean? It really bothered me. And then all of a sudden, like a few days later after we have this conversation, and it was a slightly confrontational conversation too, I'm not going to lie. I was a little annoyed at her. And then, all of these pictures that the kids made get taken down. And it's like, is this some kind of weird envy thing that you've got going on? And I really don't, I know what's going to happen. Tomorrow it's going to be brought up in the meeting. How we have to have this, that, and the other. And it's going to be a fight, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's going to be an intense argument. And I can't help but have that on my mind. And I'm very annoyed by it. I don't want to have to sit there and argue about being culturally respectful to people and why that should even have to be an argument, especially because my store really likes to be inclusive toward people, and you would think that that would just be like a given. I mean, I know that, like, when it comes to diversity, a lot of people really need to be educated about it. I don't know why people need to be educated about it, but for some bizarre reason, people need to be educated about respecting people of all types. But for some reason, that just seems to be a challenge sometimes. And I'm so sick of having that argument with people about it. It's like, enough already. And it's like, let me just be educational and do my thing. Like, for crying out loud, all I want to do is, like, give the kids something to relate to. It's really my goal here, is just, we get so many different kinds of kids with so many different ethnicities and backgrounds and lifestyles. And what really annoyed me too was I kept trying to find LGBT coloring pages as well, and all I wanted was just a picture of a kid with two dads and a picture of a kid with two moms. It's really all you need. It's all I wanted. And all of the pages that I found were really, really inappropriate. I mean, really inappropriate. Like, they were borderline just words that I prefer not to say in this video. And so it's like, why is it gotta be like that? Why? That's not diversity. That's just annoying. And so, yeah. So that's what that is just driving me nuts. I mean, the reality is, people aren't really begging for LGBT coloring pages. Nobody's really going to miss them if I never find them. I'm gonna find them eventually, or just make my own. But nobody's really like screaming for them. So I have time, is my point. I have time to look for them. But with ethnicity, it's a little bit more of you need to find it quickly, and I get that. I really do. And there wasn't anything wrong with her point. It was just that I had already said that I had said multiple times that I was already looking for these things and that I had not found everything like right off the bat, but that I was still looking for those things, and then when we find them, we find them. And I was perfectly happy. If a parent questioned me, I was perfectly happy to say it's because I haven't found them yet. And when I find pages that are not disrespectful, I will gladly add them in. But until I find those, I'm not going to use stuff that's stereotypical and hurtful to kids, because that's not right. I'd rather at least have some things that are respectful and not representative of every single ethnicity, versus having things that may represent every ethnicity but are also insulting at the same time. So, yeah, that's that. So I want to move away from that topic now, because I think I've like beaten it to death. So I want to get your guys' opinion about these icicles. There's a part of me that likes them, and there's another part of me that thinks they look really gaudy, like really intensely huge, and I'm not sure what to do. Like, I went back after I made the video and I tried like one with just the stained glass, and I didn't like it. It just looked odd to me. Like, there's just something about the way that the glass connects together that was just like right there. It was just bothering me. It's like it's too thin and it's too thick at the same time, and it's not working. And then I like decided on something, but I was like, I really struggled with this, and I mean really struggled with it. And so I'm not sure what to do. Like, they look like icicles, but I don't know, something about them. Like, even with because I started actually using the regular ice at one point too, because it won't melt. But I even implemented that, and still I'm kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm still not quite sold on it. Maybe it's gonna grow on me. Like, sometimes I build something and I hate it in the beginning, and then it grows on me. But I don't know, I need some advice. I don't know how to build everything. I've never actually built icicles before, I just realized. So, yeah. Um, an ice wall would be really helpful, like a wall block, but made out of ice or out of glass even. That would be really cool. I would be down for that. So, like, you'll see here, obviously, it's a very harsh transition between the packed ice and the, stained glass. So what I did, that's why I implemented the ice, because then I could have a better transition of color. And that made me happier. Also, the reason why the icicles are on only one side of the tree is because I figured with the sea being, behind my Minecraft character at this point in the video, it would make more sense for, like, the seawater or, like, the sea winds to be blowing up against the tree, and therefore the icicles would form there. Like, I didn't know how to make, like, blowing icicles, and I think that's a little bit more than my capabilities in this game as far as building are concerned, but as far as building is concerned, but that was my thinking on that. Like, and so yeah, but anyways, so yeah, here's the part where I add in the ice, and I think the ice looks way better. Like, I did the packed ice because I was afraid that the regular ice would melt, but it's obviously not melting. So yeah, but anyways, it's actually almost time for the video to end, oddly enough. But I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, then feel free to subscribe, comment, and like if you want to see more. And in the next episode, we're definitely going to build some houses, like, no two ways about it. And I do definitely want to hear from you guys about what you think regarding all of the things that I mentioned here with the ice and, making it all look pretty, etc., 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 and your advice about the houses and things like that. So there we go. We've got the tree. It's all done, and that's pretty much that. So again, thank you guys very much, and as always, I will see you guys next time.